Hi. So here's the topic. The topic is this: is how do you inject yourself with confidence? How do you get intoxicating confidence minus the alcohol? I can say that because I've never drank in my entire life. And how do you get that type of insane confidence in 39 seconds? So let me start out with this right here. The reason I'm talking is because I had this guy come up and interview me. We just finished it today, and it's for this international magazine, which is kind of cool. And he was like, Sherry, I see you all over the place. I've seen you speak and just dominate a one-on-one conversation. I've seen you dominate, a keynote speaking for the 8,000 people to where you have them just screaming and shouting, like totally obsessed with what you're doing. How do you have that type of insane confidence? Were you just born with this intoxicating confidence? And I was like, yeah, you know what? I was. Drop a 2 down below if you were born with just this insane confidence. Let me tell you this, is I was also born with this pathetic excuse for self-esteem that makes me want to go crawl into a closet. I was also born with this unconditional love. I feel like it's nothing could ever, I'm loved by everybody. But I was also born with this feeling that sometimes my life is this pathetic, let's just use the word pathetic, and this pathetic excuse for an existence. I felt to where I was born with this ability to talk to everybody, and then other times I feel like I was born to talk to nobody. I want to go onto this private island. Anybody ever want to go on a private island before? I'm just checking, just you and your Axio and your book. You ever want to feel like you want to just go on a private island and get away from everybody? Now, before you start to diagnose Sherry as a multiple personality disorder, let me ask you this question. And my question is this. Have you ever felt like sometimes you can add massive value to the world, other times you feel like you can't add value to anybody? Have you ever felt sometimes to where you're on stage 7, stage 9, stage 12 happiness, to where you want to go conquer the world, and other times you want to just crawl back in bed and cry? Have you gone through those different phases? And if the answer is yes, which if you're human and you're watching this, the answer is yes, then what is it called? It's just called your states. It's your different states that you're in from moment to moment to moment to moment. And the question is, what is your state? The state is just comprised of 3 different things. Number one, and just think of a state as just another word for like an emotion. So 3 different parts of a state is, number one is your physiology, how you're moving your body. Are you deep breathing? Or are you breathing really tight and shallow? Are you smiling? Or are you grimacing? Are you shoulders back? Or are you crumpled up in this little tiny ball? What are you doing with your physiology? If you're depressed, you're going to have a totally different physiology than if you're cocky / proud and confident. Second thing is your focus. Are you focusing on things you can control or can't control? Focusing on the past or the present? Focusing on everything you've lost in your life? Or are you focusing on all these amazing things you have in your life? If you're depressed, your focus is going to be totally different than if you're cocky / confident. And last part is your language. Number 3 is your language. Doesn't look very good. Number 3 is your language. What are you telling yourself? If you're, again, depressed, you're going to tell yourself probably something like, oh my gosh, I suck and I got no value to the world. I should probably just not even try. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Let's not even try. Or if you're cocky / proud, confident, you're probably going to say something like, I can do this. I can win. I dominate. Like, come on, world. Come on at me. So those 3 things is your physiology, your focus, and your language. All 3 of those combine these states of why you feel like sometimes you can go dominate and other times you feel like you want to go cry. It's called a state. And why is state so important? Let me just tell you this really quick. Is your state dictates the story you tell yourself. If you're in a depressed state, you're going to tell yourself a depressing story. If you're in an excited state, you're going to tell yourself an excited story. And what happens is with your stories is your stories are going to dictate your strategy. If you're telling yourself this depressing story, which none of you guys would ever do, you're going to do a depressing strategy, like go suck your thumb in the closet. If you're excited, if you're telling yourself this excited strategy or this excited story, you're going to tell yourself this exciting strategy, like let's go, win, aim, achieve, make money, make success, make whatever. So your state dictates your story, story dictates your strategy. Are you following this? I'm just curious. Is this tracking? If not, you need to pause, rewind me just a little bit. Say, Sherry, come back here and come back here, because this next part is going to be talking about this whole confidence. Because what does any of this story, state, physiology, breathe, what's that got to do anything to do with confidence? Everything. See, the beauty I'm trying to tell you right now is you don't have to wait to go develop confidence. You don't have to wait to go feel like you don't have to get taught. You have all this within you. You have the ability to choose what state, what emotion you're going to bring to the table. In other words, you don't have to be a victim to just whatever emotion knocks on your door and wants to come visit. This happened in my life, so now I gotta be pissed off. This happened in my life, so now I need to go cry and get emotional. This happened. No. You can dictate what state you want to currently live in. The question is how? Really simple. You just change those 3 different things. So if you're in a nervous state, let's say you're getting ready to go and do something you're scared of that you need confidence in. If you're in a nervous state, you're in this nervous physiology. Maybe fast pulse, maybe shaken, maybe not breathing, maybe tight. You're in this nervous physiology and you're doing this nervous focus, probably focusing on yourself and your inadequacies. No wonder you're making yourself nervous. And then your language is nervous. Like, I don't know if I can do this. How can I speak so bluntly? Because this has been me multiple times. Every time I go on stage, if you see me behind the curtains, I'm like this. I've been speaking now for six years or so. I've been in 42 different states, 7 different countries, speaking from just one person to speaking to a couple hundred to 1,000 people. And you see me before, even just a couple weeks ago, you see me before, and I'm like this. But it has to do with my physiology, has to do with my focus, has to do with my language. So how do you change from there to there? Is you change it to the emotion you want to feel. So really simple. I know it sounds so simple, but if you're nervous, change your physiology to a confident physiology. Like, go change it to something that makes you feel good. How do you do that? Well, let me tell you this story. It's this simple. Just a couple weeks ago, I had this guy come in and steal $15,000 from me. And let me just put a disclaimer. There is no such thing as victims. There's only volunteers. I volunteered to donate my 15 grand for him to go run away. Lack of research on my part. But as you can tell, the moment I got the telephone to realize that he was gone, well, let me just hear, what do you guys think? What type of emotion would you put on that if someone just stole 15 grand from you? I'm just curious. Maybe I'm the only emotionally imbalanced person. But he just stole 15 grand from me. And as you can tell, I was probably like a little bit irate. I wanted to commit probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 illegal actions on this guy, like tie him to an ant hole and pour chocolate syrup on him and just let justice do his thing, for a couple of days. I don't know, but I was in that type of state. The problem was I had this meeting, I had to perform at this level in 10 minutes. And see, what happens is the state I was in, I was telling myself this specific story, and the story was telling me this specific strategy. And that state I was in was not going to serve my meeting. So the thing is, I had to change it. And so what I started doing was I changed my physiology. Next thing you know, I'm sitting there gritting my teeth. I'm not breathing very tight. And I'm like, I got to change it. So what do? I start skipping. So if any of my neighbors out there saw me skipping, if you guys saw me, here's why. Not only did I decided to start skipping all over the place, was I started singing on top of my lungs. One of my most hated songs is the Barney song, I Love You, You Love Me, at the top of my lungs. And I knew for a fact when I started doing this, it was not going to change anything. I just did it just because I teach this stuff, and I cannot for a second teach it unless I'm willing to do it myself. But within 5 minutes max, done. Like my because of my physiology, changed my physiology from this tight anger to this like playful, I don't know what I was doing. That alone, I changed my focus from what I can't control to what I can control. I changed my focus to what I have versus what I've lost. And I just did those really quick turnarounds. And next thing you know, I was like on my A game, ready to go perform, because at this presentation I had to give, I had to deliver from a place of love, like insane, unconditional love. And stage 7 anger / homicide is not a place of love. So I had to change it. So next thing you know, and let me just put a disclaimer. Sometimes anger, you can perform a lot of good things out of that state. I've performed decades out of a place of anger, but it just didn't serve me in this time. So I had to change it. So Sherry, how does this have to do with anything I'm talking about? It has to do with everything if you're listening. Everything. Are you following? Just checking. Are you following? Okay, so here's how you get confidence. Here's how you get confidence for those hardcores that have stuck around thus far. How you get confidence is step number one is think about a time, and let's just do this together. Think about a time in your life to where you accomplished something that you're proud of. Could be something big, something little. Could be something last week, or it could be something back when you were 5 years old. But just take a moment with me. Close your eyes. You're not closing them. Close your eyes. And go ahead and think about moments where you're really proud. And whenever you have that moment, just go ahead and nod your head. You think I'm not watching you, I'm right there. Nod your head. Whenever you have that moment. And whenever you're in that moment, I want you to think about how you were feeling in that moment. Think about who was around you in that moment. Think about the colors. Think about, the language of back and forth. Like, I want you to physically be present in that moment. Whether it's tying your shoes for the very first time, or whether it was winning the soapbox race car in 7th grade, or maybe it was just last week whenever your kid said, I love you. That moment. Step number one, you go back and access a moment in your past where you felt proud, confident. Step number two. Are you ready for number two? I'm just curious. Okay, step number two is I want you to go ahead and go into that physiology of that confidence. Just try it. Just to prove me wrong and watch what happens. And if you can't remember how you were standing, because it was a long time ago, just follow me. Just go ahead and shoulders back, breathe deep. You can smile, it's okay. Or maybe do like one of those half cocked, like cocky smiles. One of those. Just smile and change your physiology to that of something confident. Step number three is I want you to go ahead and realize what you were focusing on in that moment. Were you focusing on the winning? Were you focusing on the gratitude? Were you focusing, like, what was your main focus whenever you're thinking about this memory that you had in your past? And then the last step I want you to ask yourself is, what was the language? Sherry, what are you talking about language? What was your language that you said whenever you were remembering this moment? Maybe it's whenever you were on stage and you were saying, oh my gosh, this is so surreal. Or maybe it's after you just finished roping this cow and won. And you're like, oh, I got it. What was the language? Drop it down below. What was your language that you had? And don't ever think that's just the very first thing you thought of, that was your language in that moment. Just say it out loud. So right now, just to recap, is number one is you're thinking about a moment you actually lived in your life that you were confident in or proud in. Number two is you're changing your physiology to mimic that moment of pride and confidence. Number three is you're changing your focus to what do you have, what's happening in this moment, the excitement. And number four is your language. What language are you saying? And then right there, just right here, if you actually did this, I give you a 99% high five, because you're ahead of 99% of the world. That was like, this is too exhausting of an exercise, but not you. You did it. How do you feel? See, the point of this whole entire thing is people message me all the time when, like, how do you get confidence? How you get so effective at ABC? How do you get this confidence in XYZ? And it's like, you don't have to develop it. I don't have to teach you. I don't nothing. Like, you don't have to wait for experience. How you get it is you have already lived. If you're over the age of 3 years old, you've already lived moments in your life to where you did accomplish something, to where you were proud. And if you're saying, no, I've never accomplished something, number one is you're lying. Like, quit lying. Like, quit. Like, think of something. The fact you made this far in the video, that's something you can be proud of. But every single one of you guys have had moments in your life to where you're ultra proud. So all you got to do is learn how to tap into those just by going back to that moment with your physiology, your focus, your language. Bring that moment up here to the present. And watch yourself start to just layer up into confidence. And that, my friends, my friends, is how you get confidence in 39 seconds. I've done this over and over every single time I get ready to go up on stage, every single time I get ready to go do something I'm scared to death to go do. And so prior to this, you could have the excuse, I don't have the confidence. But after this, you can't claim the ignorance anymore. You're welcome. See you guys later.